Today we're talking about how to do our end of year project using the TI Nspire, okay? Now, our goal is to be able to utilize the graphic calculator to graph any picture that we have decided we want to graph. You all with me? Now, I'm going to show you the basics, and we're going to start off by just doing the golden arches of McDonald's. You with me? I know, because that's the simplest thing I can really come up with. So we all know what the golden arches look like, okay? They look like that. I don't have double markers, okay? And I'm actually going to extend this because what we're going to do is we're going to have to cut them off, correct? So we have them at the same length because they are symmetrical. First thing we're going to do is I want everybody to open up a graphs page on their document, graphs page. I want everybody using a mouse today because all the things I'm going to show you, if you don't have a mouse, go grab one from the box over there, is to show you using a mouse because there's a lot more features and it's so much easier to use a mouse than it is to use the touchpad. Okay, first things first, I want everybody to graph x squared. So simply type in there x squared and hit enter. Okay, do we all see that, yay or nay? Now, I want you to take your mouse, and using your mouse, I would like you to go in the bottom right-hand quadrant, also known as quad 4. I would like you to click, hold, drag. You see what happens? It drags the whole paper. Yes, it does not change the scaling. It just changes where your window is, correct? Control Z will undo. You have multiple undos. Control Y is redo. Okay, I'm recording, so you'll have this as well. Okay, so now with the next thing said, what you need to know how to do is, well, what happens if I land on my axis? Move your mouse to land on your axis, and it's going to turn into a hand. Click, hold, and drag forward. It changes the scale of the picture. Click, hold, and drag. Once you land on your axis, it turns into a hand. Click, hold, and drag. That changes your axis. So if you accidentally do this and you're like, oh no, that's not what I wanted to do, what do? Control Z takes it back to the way you had it. Okay, now in addition to that, I would now like you to take your mouse and land at the vertex of your parabola. Do you see you have crosshairs? I would like you to click, hold, drag. What it's doing is changing the vertex of the parabola. Now look at that. That is extremely confusing as you're looking at this, yes? So what I want you to do is I want you to land on your label, the F1 label. Click, hold, drag, and bring it to the bottom left-hand quadrant. And you know what'll happen whenever I go to drag this again now? That'll stay in place and you can physically watch that move now. Do we all see that? That's a beautiful thing. Would you agree? Okay. Now, here's what we know about the golden arches. The golden arches are going to be reflected parabolas, correct? Now, I've shown you how to click, hold, and drop and drag an object. Now I want you to go ahead and change the stretch and compress of this. So I would like you to move your mouse to the side of the graph. You see how we get a different icon. Click, hold, and drag. And what this is going to do is it's going to shift your stretch and compress factor. So now I'm going to move this up into my quadrant so that you can see the lovely little golden arch a little bit easier there. Do we see it? And I'm actually going to make my compress just a little bit smaller. Yours does not have to match mine. Be unique. You do not have to be like me. Am I clear on this? You do you, I'll do me. I simply made sure I had this symbol right here and I click, hold, and drag it where I wanted it to be. Make sense? Are we liking the mouse today? It's very helpful, isn't it? Okay. All right, now, I've taught you a lot about transformations, have I not? Transformations are very, very, very important in mathematics. They tell you how to reflect something. And what do we know about our lovely little arches? The right arch and the left arch are going to be symmetrical, and they are going to have the same heights to them, as well as the same width. Would you agree? So basically what we want to do is we just want to copy this function and we want to shift it to the right to get the second part of the arch. Would you agree with me? So what I want everybody to do is I want you to hit tab. Whenever you hit tab, it gives you your function bar. So now that I have my function bar, what I want to do is I want to go ahead and I want to arrow up to F1. Arrow up to F1 using your arrow keys on your keyboard. And I'm going to start at the negative sign and I'm simply going to highlight. And I'm going to hit Control C for copy. And then I'm going to arrow down to F2. And I'm going to press Control V, but I'm not going to hit Enter yet, because if I hit Enter, then I have exactly the same equation. And I want to transpose this equation, which means I want to change my H value to be moving to the right. So that plus 2.5 on mine is now going to turn to what? A minus 2.5. Do we all understand that? And hit Enter. So there's your golden arches. Fix the M from Control V. Change this to a minus. Oh, you're still on that body. You haven't seen there too. I don't know how to. It's tab. Control V. It's tab and Control V there.
Yay.
And you have to select it. So you're going to arrow up to get to this, and you're simply going to copy it. And arrow, Control V, and then change the plus to a minus and hit Enter. Now yours don't intersect. Now some of yours are not going to intersect. You know why they're not going to intersect? You did not move them, make it wide enough at the time. Okay? So what that means is you just have to play with your functions until you get them to intersect. Do we all get that?
Yeah.
Okay? So instead of shifting it all the way over and changing it to the minus, just change that number. You guys know how to do that. It's not a big deal. What does H do? It changes the vertexes where it is. The stretch and compress of it's still the same. It's still exactly the same parabola. You're just changing where the center of the vertex is going to be so that it moves. So Reagan, what you want to do is you want to change that number where it's a minus. Go ahead and change that number from 4 whatever. Maybe make it 1 point something. You with me? Okay, so now I have them intersecting. Does everybody have 2 arches on their lovely little screen that intersect? Yes or no?
Yes, ma'am.
And you are clearly going to get the McDonald's symbol, yes? If they intersect really below, then you need to get them closer together. Okay, you need to get them closer together. All right, now with that said, are we ready to go? I need to go ahead and I need to do a golden arch. I need to have a stopping point. I want you to visualize your 2 fingers up here, your hands. I want you to have scissors on each one of them. You with me? So our goal is to snip off unneeded parts of the graph. You with me? In order for that to happen, we're going to add another graph to it. You with me? So we're going to hit Tab. And I want you to look at your graph and say, how far low do I want my golden arches to go? And each of you may have a different picture on your paper. And some of you might have yours intersecting way up at the top so you can cut it off really high. Others of you may not be intersecting until way down here, so you may have to cut yours off really low. So for me, I'm going to estimate mine to be at -2. So I'm going to go ahead and put -2 as my horizontal line. What's the matter? Tab will always give you your F3. Tab will always give your entry line. Arrows up and down. It's just like your graphing calculator. Okay. So now do you see that I have a place where I'm going to have these functions stop? Yes or no? Okay. Do we understand that the number of -2 really isn't necessary in my picture to do the golden arches? But I need it there so that I can have a starting point and ending point for my domain to do a domain restriction. You all good? Okay. Now, here's what needs to happen. I need to, don't make fun of me. It's impolite. I did. Okay, whatever. Now, here's what we got to do. I need to tell this blue function, which is F1, where I want it to start and where I want it to end. Did everybody hear what I just said? I want it to start at its x-coordinate here, and I want to use all the x-coordinates all the way until it intersects my red F2 graph here, and I want it to stop. Do we all understand that? So the way we're going to do that is we're going to hit menu, and then we're going to analyze our graph. And what do you think I want out of that? Intersection points. So then at the bottom left-hand corner, it says, I'm confused. It says graph. It wants you to tell it what two graphs you want to do the intersection point of. So you physically have to click on them. So I'm going to click on graph 1. And then after I clicked, it now comes up with another prompt of second graph question mark. Click the bottom F3 graph and hit enter. Once I do that, I'm going to get this vertical dotted line. And it's going to say, okay, where do you want the boundaries to be at? So I go to the left of where I want the intersection point to be at, and then I click and I go to the right to get the intersection point. Do we all understand what I did? I did menu, analyze graph, intersection. I clicked on the two graphs I wanted to do the intersection of. I went to the left of it and clicked. I went to the right of it and clicked, and I got my point of intersection of those two graphs. So that is where I'm going to start my golden arch for my F1. Now, where is my golden arch going to end for F2, for F1? Where they intersect. So I have to do the same process all over again. So menu, analyze graph, intersection. But now you're going to choose F1 and F2, and I'm going to go to the left and go to the right. Do we see that? Okay. Now, I am going to hit tab because I want to activate my F1, and I want to go and arrow to that one until I get to F1. So I'm going to arrow up until I get to F1. Now, here's the beautiful thing about this program. I want to put a domain restriction on this. So I want everybody to go and hit control equals. Control equals gives you the less than, greater than, such that symbols. And that's what you need. The bar, the vertical bar, is the such that symbol that allows you to start having domain restrictions. So you're going to put the vertical bar. And at that point, you are going to say, okay, well, where do I want my x's to start and where do I want my x's to stop? Well, F1 is going to be utilized for my specific graph. It was negative 7.38. And then it's going to stop 0. Well, x is in between there, and guess what? I have to make that an equality statement of being negative 7.38. And then control equals is less than or equal to x. Control equals again to grab that less than or equal symbol again is less than or equal to 0. My numbers are going to be different than your numbers. My numbers are going to be different than your numbers. So the first intersection point is what you're going to be utilizing for the x. The second intersection point is what you're going to be utilizing for the x. The x is down there at the bottom. You have to use the white highlighted keys at the bottom. And then you're going to hit enter. And look, it snipped it right off, didn't it? Do you see that? It literally were like scissors hands right there. It said, okay, you want this function, but you only want this function between negative 7.38 and 0. Edward Scissors hands. Right? Okay, so we're going to do exactly the same thing with the F2 function. Y'all understand me? However, have I already done the intersection point between F1 and F2? Yeah. I have. So I need to do this one more time, utilizing the intersection point between what two graphs? F2 and F3, because I need to know where I need to stop this function. Would you agree? Yeah. So we're going to go back over here to menu. We're going to go back over here to analyze graph and intersection. And it's saying, well, what two functions do you want to choose? Well, F2 and F3. And I'm going to click to the left of it and then click to the right of it. So for my F2 function, I'm going to start at 0, and then I'm going to end at positive 7.38. Some of yours are going to be different. They're not all going to be symmetrical like mine. Making that very clear. Because that's where F1 and F2 intersect, is at the x coordinate 0. Right here, right? I don't want the height. The height is the y coordinate. I want the x coordinate at which they intersect. So I'm going to go ahead and hit tab to go back to my function bar. Patience. And I'm going to go up to F2. You can't screw this up. What do you always do when in doubt? Control Z. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and go to the control equals. And I'm going to grab my such that symbol to indicate that I would like to make a domain restriction. And I'm going to have 0. Control equals again is less than or equal to x. Control equals again to get the less than or equal to 7.38. And I'm going to hit enter. I did do 0.
That's one of my
Okay, so do you see my golden arches up there? I want to make myself very clear though. There's a lot of junk on there that I do not want to see. Your goal is to make the picture exactly the way you have designed it. There should be no F1 or F2 labels. There should not be any extra functions, and there should not be an XY axis that I can see. Your goal is to present a picture to a kindergartner and say, here's this picture, you can color it now. They should not see anything extra. So how do I go about taking and getting rid of those things? Are we all paying attention? Take your mouse and go on top of labels until they turn into a hand. Right click, and what do you think I want to do? Hide. Do not delete them, just hide them. Over here to the text where it has a label there, hide it. Do you see this point of intersection? I don't like that point there. That point is very abrasive in my, it's very obvious in my drawing. I don't want it. Hide it. Right click and hide. Right click and hide. Right click and hide. Now, I'm going to ask you, do I need the F3 function to be, is it an important aspect of my drawing? Right click and hide. You guys crack me up. Okay. My point is this. I technically do not need that F3. That F3 is not a vital point or part of my drawing. It was there as a way to stop the functions. You can keep it if you need it, but if you don't feel like you need it, you can simply delete it. Then whenever you land on your axis, you can go ahead and do hide axis. And there's my golden arches. Do we all understand that? That is your goal. Okay, if you land on your axes and then right click, it'll say hide or show, press hide or show, and then hide axis. Okay, you guys need more practice with this. It's going to take practice. Really, okay? Now, there's a couple other things I need to show you before the bell rings. I only have 10 more minutes, so I need you guys to stay on task and stay with me, okay? So I need everybody with me. Eyes on me now. No waiting, eyes on me. Sarah? Okay, I want everybody to hit Control Dock. You want a new graphs page. Control Dock. You want a new graphs page. Okay, so what we're doing is I'm getting you a new graphs page to show you a couple other things. It's very difficult to graph a vertical line. A vertical line is x equals a number, and since you're in y equals mode, it won't allow you to enter anything that is x equals. You get what I'm saying? You can't just delete the F1 and put x equals. It won't work like that. So what you have to do is you have to enter in a different type of equation. So what I want to show you is menu, graph entry, equation. And underneath the graph entry in equation, you are going to have several different functions that you have here. The first one is going to be a line, which is going to be a vertical line. The vertical line is x equals c. I'm just going to put 4 in there and hit enter. There's your vertical line. Guys, I really need your listening skills intact, and I need you fully focused on me. Menu, graph entry, equation, line, and then vertical line. You had the same thing as me. Menu, graph entry, equation, line, you have exactly the same. You chose this one right here. And then you simply type in 4 or 3 or 2, whatever you wanted. Okay? So there's going to be how you do a vertical line. Am I clear on that? Yes or no? Okay. Next thing I want to do is Control Doc. Add another graphs page. Okay, we're going to do the same thing. Menu, graph entry, but I'm going to show you how to do a circle. The circle right here is it gives you the general form. So over here, I have a circle equation on the board of x plus 2 squared plus 5 plus 5 squared is equal to 9. What is the center of the circle? -2, -5 is correct, with a radius of being what? The square root of 9, which is 3. Do we all see that? So we know that this thing is going to land in quadrant 3. We're having a radius of 3 units extending into quadrant 4. Would you agree? You can visually see that in your head. Yeah. So if I go ahead and I put those values in here, I'm going to put in -2, -5, and 3, using my arrow keys there to get back and forth between my spots. If I simply hit enter, and if I move my lovely little page up here, you can see that. Here's the problem. When you use this feature, it gives you a beautiful circle, and it makes it very easy for you. But the problem is you can never eliminate this nice little plus sign in the middle indicating the center. If I see that on your picture project, I will take points off because that is not part of the design of the picture. You can't.
Yeah,
so what I'm trying to get you to understand, remember whenever I did your circle equations with you, that you should have listened to the video already that was assigned to you last week. Yes. I did. It's even on Edmodo. If you were to have this, what I told you to do was to take this equation and solve it for y. Solving it for y allows you to put it in as the semicircle, as the top part of the circle and the bottom part of the circle. So if I solve this for y, I'm simply going to be subtracting the quantity of x plus 2 squared, and then I'm going to take the square root of both sides, indicating that I have a plus or a minus on the outside, indicating the top part of the semicircle and the bottom part of the semicircle. And then I'm going to subtract the 5 over, and this is what I have. Now, here's the problem. You either have to enter this in as 2 functions, or write it as a piecewise function. And then what it's going to do is it's going to have a 1 and it's going to have an F3, 2. And basically what it is it shows you the piecewise function. So you're going to put the top part in, and then you're going to put the bottom part in. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to do that. So I want everybody to hit menu, graph entry, function. We want a function this time, because we absolutely do not want this plus sign in the middle of our center. Do we all understand that? Yeah. So the way we're going to eliminate that is we're going to use a piecewise function to have less functions in our lovely little graph. You with me? Yeah. So I want everybody to go to the right of the 9. The right of the 9 gives us our piecewise. It's going to be the second to last column in the first row. Second to last column in the first row. Now, you can have more than 2 parts to a piecewise function. You could have 3 or 4 parts if you would want to. Do we all understand that? When you are doing a domain restriction, you can only do 1 domain restriction at a time. Now, I would like you to do not make fun of me, my drawers, because I'm terrible at this. Okay? What? Something like that. Okay? Do we all understand that the bottom part of the circle is going to remain untouched, correct? With the top part of the semicircle, you have to notch out the ears, correct? in order to notch out the ears, you are going to have from here to here domain restriction, from here to here domain restriction, and from here to here domain restriction. So you don't pick random points. You pick points of intersection. Yes. For the bottom, you want the whole semicircle for the bottom. So if I wanted the bottom, I'm not going to make any domain restrictions on the bottom, but the top I would. Okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and choose this one right here. And we're going to start typing exactly what we have over there, which is going to be -5 plus the square root of 9 minus x plus 2 squared. Okay, now make this easier on yourself. Work smarter, not harder. All you're going to do is simply start at the negative and copy and highlight and copy. So Control C, come down here and paste it down there. And where it has plus, you are simply going to change that to what? Minus. And then hit enter. So now what we have, this right here, I don't want this equation anymore. Do you see where I've gone ahead and I've put my mouse over here and it says equation? If I click that and press delete, it should go away. No, thank you. Thank you, though. So now I have my function there, and I have my circle, and guess what? There is no plus sign in the center of it, is there? How do I do what? Okay, you are simply going to put that right there, click on it, right-click, and delete. Okay? So basically what we've done is we've outsmarted the program. Would you agree? And then you can make domain restrictions. Now, the bell's going to ring here. What do I need you guys to have for me by Monday? I need you to have a picture. We are starting the project Large and in Charge on Monday. I want no excuses. Your laptops better be charged. You may borrow a mouse anytime you are here at school. If you have a mouse at home, bring it with you. Strongly suggest it. And you are going to constantly be saving this on your make a file and save it. Am I clear? Any questions over what I just said to you? Also, in addition to that, did we finish our qualities for our classmates? Yes, Isaiah, did you finish yours? Thank you, sir. Okay, awesome.